Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is VA3CJZ Chuck in Hamilton, filling in for Mac tonight. VA3IMW, he's away on business, and so I will be streaming the net. Bill, the VE3IUK, will be the net controller. You may occasionally see me press the REV button right here. That's so I can see if I can hear any signals on direct without using the repeater. Let's wait for Bill.
All right, good evening, all amateurs. This is Victor Echo 3 India Uniform Kilowatt, Bill Dundas, and I'm your host this evening for the Lake Ontario Radio Club Net. At present, this net is on a summer schedule, meets 3 times weekly. It meets Sundays and Tuesdays on this repeater at 7 p.m. and Thursdays on a simplex frequency of 44.125. We will be resuming our regular schedule after Labor Day. So we will pick up a net on Monday night that's hosted by Chuck, and then we'll have a Saturday night net as well on this repeater. So at this point, let's stand by for any quick one and dones or priority traffic. Come now. Okay, nothing here. We'll stand by for anyone who would like to check into the Lake Ontario Radio Club net. Come now.
VE3LBI. VE3ZJZ.
VA3 Whiskey Papa Golf.
VA3NFG.
Who was the station after LBI that I missed? Is that Jason's at JC?
Roger, buddy.
Okay, so we got 4 gentlemen checking in there. So let's start with Larry. Good evening, Larry. How are you doing?
Doing fine, Bill. Everybody else, welcome to the Jason for being back in town here. Hope you had a good time down the East Coast. Haven't really done too much today. Actually, I did hang up something the daughter had got myself for Christmas. It's called a rain chain. It goes on a downspout. I got one on the garage here that doesn't. I don't worry about it too much. I don't want to put it on the house, but the rain comes down and trickles down this chain right to the ground. It's quite interesting. All I need now is some rain.
What is the ID behind that chain?
What's that, Bill?
What is the ID behind it? I'm not quite following it.
It's like a trinket. Instead of going down a downspout, it comes down the chain, and it's not a waterfall or anything. You'd have to look it up, but it's called a rain chain, and it's a decorative piece.
Oh, we'll definitely have a look after the net. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, anyways, I got that put up today, so I put it in the garage where the water flows away from the house anyways. I normally had a downspout there with a elbow on the bottom, but I thought I'd put it up there. Like I say, I just need some rain now to see how it looks. And I'm not going to put the hose up there.
Well, we could definitely use the rain anyway, Larry.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do when I get done here is hook the hose up and take it out front and give the plants out front a little water. So other than that, Bill, not too much going on today. The wife had an appointment this morning and was up fairly early, not the normal time we get up, so both of us are a little tired.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But I'm glad that she's doing better. She's getting around a lot better now, Larry.
Getting there. We don't think it's going to be 100%. She's going to have to go back and talk to them end of the month there and see what they're going to do to finish things off for her. So it's not quite working out the way they expected.
Okay, Larry. Well, let's hope for the best and hope that the doctors that are visual people that are in charge of her care can make some progress with that.
Absolutely, Bill. Listen, thanks for doing it. VE3LBI 73.
Okay, Larry, thanks a lot. And before I move down to Jason, I'd like to recognize that Albert VE3BT is checked in on YouTube, and also VE3MQ Tom as well has checked in via YouTube. And folks, don't forget to smash the like button. With that, let's move on down to Jason and see how his trip was and how it is to be back to the grind. Good evening, Jason.
Yeah, good evening, Bill, and all on net. It's good to be back. It was an absolutely fantastic trip. So a week and a half out through the Maritimes, everything but Newfoundland, because couldn't do the 14-hour ferry ride there and back. But did Cape Breton, which was beautiful, Halifax downtown area, caught a soccer game. PEI was fantastic. New Brunswick, went and walked on the ocean floor at Hopewell Rocks Provincial Park. I wanted to activate that park when I was there, but I tell you, there was no room for anything. All of the parking lots were full. It was overflowing. Everybody was parking up on the grass. They had us parking up at like the park warden people. You couldn't swing a cat without hitting somebody, so there was nowhere for me to throw up a wire or put up the Pac-12. So had to delay it a day, but I did get a NatNo in there at I don't even remember the park's name, but some wildlife refuge thing, traipsing into the woods a little bit there. And another NatNo under my belt, so I was happy about that. Other than that, my friends, it was about 5,200 kilometers in 11 days, and a lot of fun. I had an absolute blast. Would absolutely do it again. And if anybody's going to the Maritimes for a stay in Canada vacation, I got some suggestions for everybody. Other than that, back to the circus. I mean, work today, and I'm now looking outside the window at some antenna repairs that I got to do that came down before I left. So lots of work happening around here. I'll send it back to you, Bill. Thanks for doing it, my friend. VE3ZJC, back to that.
Okay, Jason, well, it sounds like you had a good trip, and at least you did get a NatNo in. Get one of those under your belt, so you weren't able to activate the other park, but it sounds like a wonderful trip. Hope you got lots of pictures, for posterity to look back at.
Oh, absolutely. The missus was taking pictures and then stealing the pictures that I took and posting to her Instagram, so the friends and family who aren't with us could follow along. No activation photos, just totally slipped my mind at the three parks. I don't know. The parks that I activated. But yeah, absolutely fantastic time. Again, thanks for doing it, Bill. I'll set it back and follow along for the duration. Back to that.
Okay, sounds good, Jason. I'm glad that you had a good, relaxing trip. So let's pick up Chris. How are you doing this evening, Chris?
Good evening, everybody. VA3WPG doing all right. Got the antenna outside right now on the milk crate. They got the railing up today, the glass in there today, and the balcony should be reopened by tomorrow. Technically, I think they're done. I guess they just want everybody to wait before bringing the stuff back out there for them to take down the scaffolding and wind up all the cables and the rope and that pulls the scaffolding up and stuff, so someone doesn't get whipped with a cable or something, I guess. But yeah, pretty well done. Got a roll of chicken wire on order to protect the glass. We're gonna unroll that, and then we're gonna get the antenna strapped out there. And by the end of the week, I will be back in business. So the what was that estimate? What did I say? 6 to 8 weeks was actually under 4 weeks.
Oh, very good. I know sometimes I've heard in cases balconies taking longer than that. So if you got away with a month, Chris, that's not bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the time frame. It's going to be nice to get all this crap back out of here and onto the balcony and get my space back in here. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I can well imagine that can be upset a routine very easily. Well, thanks for checking in, Chris, and have a good evening.
Is you everybody else on the net? That's it for me. We'll keep going. 73. Everybody have a good evening. VA3WPG.
Yep. Thanks a lot for checking. I'd like to acknowledge that Guy has checked in from Ottawa, and I'm sure pretty soon he's going to be checking in with a call sign, so let's wish him all the best. So with that, let's pick up Steve and see how his day went. VA3NFG, VE3IUK. Good evening, Steve.
VE3IUK, VA3NFG. Good evening, Bill, and to all on net. Just another day at the mill. What can I say? Glad it's over with. It wasn't too difficult today. I had some help in my department, so it was actually a pretty slack day, so wasn't too bad. The weather was cooperating today. It was a beautiful sunny day. Not a terrible 38 degrees. It was a nice balmy 26 degrees. Might have went up to 28 for an hour or two, during the high temp hour today, but that's okay. There are plenty of ice cream sandwiches in the freezer there that we helped ourselves to. So yeah, that's about it. Just chilling here in the shack and hunting some POTA. That's about it, and that'll be all I'm doing this evening. So we'll send it right back to you there, Bill. And thanks for doing the net, buddy. VE3IUK, VA3NFG in the shack.
Okay, yeah, very good. Well, the central area here came on for about 2 hours this afternoon, but I've got the windows open back up now. It's starting to cool off. Yeah, it did hit 28 out here, Steve, and yeah, Roger on the ice cream bars and the freezer. I have creamsicles. Something I remember from my childhood. I don't know if you ever had creamsicle or not, Steve.
Is that the vanilla ice cream on a stick with the orange coating?
Yep, that's it.
I was never a fan of those too much. They tasted too much like Orange Crush to me. I know I haven't had one in a very long time. I could be wrong about the taste, but is that what they taste like?
Yeah, they do taste a lot like Orange Crush, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm not a fan of the Orange Crush. Why don't they make that in a Kool-Aid flavor? Flavor red. Yeah, it was the old red Kool-Aid was my favorite, and the green was my favorite too. But yeah, it'd be kind of nice if they made that in the other flavors. Maybe they do. I'm just not aware of it.
Yeah, maybe they do. I've just never encountered what's the old lingo about their jingle was Kool-Aid tastes great. We want Kool-Aid, can't wait.
Yeah, something like that, with the big red picture with the happy face on there, dancing about. Yeah. Good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. There you go, Steve. Well, thanks a lot for checking in, and have a good evening, and good luck with the POTA hunting. Okay, anyone else would like to check into Lake Ontario Radio Club Net? Come now.
VE3KDT.
VE3 Echo Kilo Japan.
Okay, recognizing two more fellas in there. I got Noel and Bill. I will pick up Noel first. VE3KDT, VE3IUK. Good evening, Noel.
Good evening, Bill, and everyone else on that. Yeah, just thought I'd throw a quick, hey, how's it going out there? Not really out and about myself. I'm deep diving into extra hardware and stuff like that for my server in the house, and it's a short throw from the basement to my living room TV, so I might just have an extra gaming computer. Well, I'm not doing too much stuff there. Something I guess it'll be a little easier with my kids really into Minecraft, as you know, and the Java edition on the PC works a lot better than the console one.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I flirted around with Minecraft a few years ago, but I could never really get into it. But I know the kids are very adept at it. The game I've played since 1993 is a game called Civilization. That's about the only game I play. It's a strategy-based game, turn-based. You've probably heard of it. It started out with version 1 on two 720K floppies, and I think now if you download the Civilization 7, I think it's something like 30 gigabytes. So things change.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I think that was one of the first games that they were trying to test an 8K display with it, because I guess it could actually render it out, or had the assets for that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I actually have all 7 versions installed, because I have 1 and 2 installed in virtual machines, because they're 8 and 16-bit. So, and then from 3 above, they all work in Windows 11 fine. So yeah. So for nostalgia, sometimes I'll go back and play the original Civ. It's a hoot.
Yeah, my ex-wife actually was a huge fan of that. I've seen quite a bit of it. Some of the glitches and that, I think we were talking. You can turn some of the passive leaders into warmongers or whatever else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of dynamics to the game, and each AI has its own personality. You can actually tailor the personality, make it more aggressive, make them more passive. Anyway, I better not get stuck on talking to you about Civilization, because I could do that all night. Thanks a lot for checking in, Noel, and have a good evening.
Thanks, you too. Yeah, I will pass it on and sit and listen. Oh my gosh. And figure out how to not chew on my tongue.
Yeah, I know. I sometimes get like that where I start speaking in tongues. So it happens to all of us. Anyway, let's see what Bill is up to there in the north end. VE3EKJ, VE3IUK. Good evening, Bill.
Evening, Bill and all. VE3IUK, VE3EKJ returning. I had a busier day than usual. Most days I do nothing, and I can't get it all done in one day, so I have to do nothing the next day to finish it off. But only electronic counter left in Hamilton, of course, is New Tech on Parkdale. Most hams would know that already. So I had to go in to see Sheila. I took a different bus route. I thought this time, since, I live down off of Burlington Street, usually I have to take the Bayfront, take that out to Woodward and Barton, and then take a Barton to bring me back to Parkdale, and then the Parkdale bus is only once every half hour, and it's usually late, so I have to walk from there. Anyhow, this time I tried Kennon Street, and they had troubles. The whole thing took me 90 minutes, but at least I get a lot of exercise, and I did get the parts I needed, so I shouldn't complain.
Yeah, it's one of the few stores left where you can get discrete parts, which is getting harder and harder to get, and now that it's getting harder and harder to get the quality discrete parts. So I'm glad you're able to get what you want. It's easy for me to get there. I just hop on the number 11 Beeline bus and get off at Queenston and Parkdale, and I walk up, so I can usually get there in under 45 minutes.
Well, I seem to have the black cloud over my head. The character in Little Abner 100 years ago in the Funny Papers, Joe Batifspik, I think his name, or whatever. It was a pun on those Polish names that don't have any vowels. My good friend Joe, IUW, will chuckle. That's his family. Anyhow, what I'm working on, I've got a couple of years ago at the Ancaster Fair, I had picked up a homebrew unit, tube speech processor, compressor, and I was really attracted to it, anything with tubes, and the guy selling it was only a couple of bucks. which I thought was a steal for all the parts involved. And the guy who had built it, he had done some nice silkscreen lettering. And his call originally, before he came to Canada, was 9Y4 Papa Alpha. I understand he was a St. Catharines ham when he settled down. Did a beautiful job, but the neon pilot light indicator, power indicator, had gotten old and was fading. So I'm replacing it with an LED, but I needed a drop-in resistor. Big sale of the day for Sheila.
Yeah, there you go. But, you know, again, I think there's a place out in Burlington where you can still buy discrete parts. It's along the same lines as New Tech, but it's a larger store, but I cannot remember the name of the store.
Sale. Yeah, I know it well. I had sale. Originally, it was on Harvester, and then later on fall sale, the owner moved it. I opened that store for him, did all the work, everything else, worked my butt off. But I went into it to build a job for myself, you know, taking a less than minimum wage just to get things rolling, and then afterwards, he forgot that I needed to eat too. So we parted company. But all his stuff is surplus. And over the years, little bitty parts he's run out of. He's not really much of a franchise distributor. He'd always pick up, you know, pallets of surplus components from, well, in those days, there was a lot of, all over the place, the smaller distributors were just going under. And he'd come in to snap up the crumbs. And so there's still some stuff to get, but believe it or not, there's lots of other sources, Bill. If you ever need anything, let me know, and I could steer you right. There's Just Radios in Toronto. He's great, Dave, up there. He's got resistors and capacitors, a huge selection, and I even got dial cord. You know, you got to do stuff like that. And then there's Antique Radio in the States. Tubes from the Tube Store on Lansing Drive up near Rymel, Upper Ottawa area. You can still get them. You just can't walk in and pick them up, you know, just, you know, within an hour when you need them at a counter.
Okay, well, that's good to know, Bill. And I will keep that in mind, and I'm sure that other people listening will keep that in mind as well. But I better move on and see if there's anyone else that would like to check into the Lake Ontario Radio Club. Anything else before I move on, Bill?
Nope, but other than that, you can always hit me up for something, Bill. I've got a huge stock. I used to, on the side, build and repair vacuum tube guitar amplifiers, which in many ways are not that much different from old boat anchor ham radio gear. I've got an extensive inventory because, you know, you don't buy onesie, twosie nowadays. You have to buy minimum quantities, this sort of thing. So I put them all in stock. It's just that Murphy's Law says that whatever I'm out of is the precise thing I needed at the moment. I'll let you go on.
Yeah, that's usually the way it is. Well, thanks for checking in, Bill, and good luck with that speech processor. I'd like to acknowledge that Mac VA3IMW has checked in from Romulus, Michigan. So not the planet Romulus, but Romulus, Michigan. So good evening, Mac. Hope everything's going okay for you. With that, let's stand by and see if there's anyone else who would like to check into the Lake Ontario Radio Club. Come now.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, it's Brandon, Bill. Hello.
VA3NFL, VE3IUK. Good evening, Al. How are you doing?
Doing good. Sitting there out in the front stoop. Counting traffic, I guess.
Yep, you're just on the fringe there, but I got most of that, Al. Thanks a lot for checking in.
All right, Bill. Everybody on that, have a great evening. Bill.
Yeah, 7-3, Al. Anyone else for Lake Ontario Radio Club Net? Come now.
Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Juliet Zulu.
VA3CJZ, VE3IUK. Good evening, Chuck.
Hey, good evening, Bill, and all on net. Nice to see a lot of activity in the chat on the YouTube stream, and I think Mac is a one and done. And he did say it was a quick check-in, so he probably had to go. But not sure when he's coming back. But hopefully everything is going smoothly for him there. And oh, I forgot to mention on was it yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. But okay, that's why I didn't say it. There was no net on. I finally got my 50 U.S. States Award from POTA, and Nevada was the one that I was trying to get for so long, and I got him. But he took like 5 days to upload his log, and so finally I got the award. I think this morning or yesterday, and yeah, feeling pretty happy about that. Only made one POTA contact this morning. Things were a little bit rough, and I had some other stuff to do. So, yeah, conditions in the evening seem to be nice on 40 meters and 20 sometimes. So we'll see how this evening goes. It was a beautiful day today. I thought it would be a lot warmer, and I don't think we went past 25 here. But of course, you add some of that humidity. The humidity was up last time I checked, 67%. So that's pretty high without having any rain. So yeah, I guess for the weekend though, we're gonna get cooking again. So, but you never know; things might change. Thanks for doing this, Net Bill. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, congratulations on the 50 states. I think I still need about 7. And if I ever get this penny here fixed at home, I don't know what's wrong with it. Every time I go to look at it, I end up doing something else. But I will get to it eventually. I don't know what's going on with it. But good for you, Chuck. That's great. And yeah, Nevada, there's probably only 2 operators there. And they're only on so many days of the week. Hi. Anyway, while we have you here, maybe we should. Oh, but by the way, just going to say that it hit 28 degrees here this afternoon. I think around about 4 o'clock. The thermometer outside said 28 degrees. So I'm surprised. I am with you. I'm surprised the humidity is so high because we have not had the precipitation. Anyways, Chuck, let's let you give a plug for for your longest running simplex net in this area. So go ahead, Chuck, take it away.
All right, very good then. And that's right. Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means the A-Reg net will be on at 8 p.m. on 146.430. It is the longest running simplex net in the Hamilton Dundas area. And just to remind everyone, on September 10th, we will have reached 32 years of being on the air once a week. And so I hope a lot of you join us and check in and say hi and have some fun with us. And again, September 10th, that will be week 1669. So I will be streaming the net tomorrow, as I usually do. And hope to hear you all then. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, and as the amateurs used to say in yesteryear, fine business, Chuck. No, all kidding aside, it's very much appreciated. It's a great way to break up the week. And you know what? We've learned the habit of bees. We've learned about penguins. We've learned about other Australian wildlife. We've just learned all this stuff that we can woo people with at cocktail parties.
Yes, a whole bunch of useless information unless you're at a party.
That's right. right, or you're just very loquacious and gregarious and just love to talk. You have all that stored up.
Yeah, and it keeps me out of trouble. So, all right, Bill, I'll let you see if there's anyone else out there. And again, thank you for doing this, Nat. And I hope to hear you all tomorrow night at 8 p.m. VA3CJZ.
Yeah, very good, Chuck. Yeah, thanks a lot for checking in. And as I say, we look forward to it, and it's a great way to break up the week. So with that, let's take a standby and see if we have any other check-ins for the Lake Ontario Radio Club that come now. All right, I guess that's it. We'll take one standby just to make sure we don't miss anybody. Any last minute check-ins, any recharge comments before I close the net down? Come now. Okay, I'm not sure if this is garbage night, but if not, it could be. I have to go see what's going out on the street there. I'm not sure if the garbage people had Monday off or not, so we'll have to check when the net's over. Anyways, I'd like to thank Terry VE3IUK all for the use of the repeater. Thanks to all you guys that checked in, either on the repeater or via YouTube. Very much appreciated. So this is Bill VE3IUK in Dundas, bidding you all a good evening and saying 7-3 and turning this repeater back to normal amateur use.
VE3IUK, VE3EKJ. Forgot you hit the run to do the glamour job.
VE3EKJ, VE3IUK.
Yeah, I was hoping to catch you before you ran off to do one of the glamour jobs. I just had a little tip for you. I imagine, you go out to the odd, tailgate, hamfest, whatever, that sort of thing. And I just wanted to give you a bit of advice for that HQ129 of yours. Looking at the schematic, it uses an oddball tube. It was a little less popular. Most of the sockets in those type of receivers from that era, the tube of choice was a 6SK7, and they're as common as nails. But once in a blue moon, there will be a rig, and I don't know why, some designer put in a 6SS7, Sierra 7. It's an 810 octal, so it's the larger tube. So they're a bit rare, and if you wanted to have a spare or two, your 129 is full of them, so it would probably do you good.
Well, thanks for that. I'll keep that in mind. You know what? I've never even heard of a 6SS7. I've heard a lot of the 6L and that series, but never that tube.
Yeah, and functionally it's the same. It does have a little bit different biasing, a bit better gain factor, actually. So that's a plus. In those days, oftentimes what would happen is that the buyer would find a cheaper tube, usually because some salesman came in from a competitor to his usual source, and maybe they were used to buying Motorola 6SK7s at Hallicrafters or Hammerland. And then one day in wandered a GE salesman, and he says, "Why don't you spec in for your next one, the 6SS7, and I'll give you a few pennies better off the price." And so it goes.
And so it goes, and the bean counters love that, right?
Yep. And it was usually to those earlier tube manufacturers' advantage to try to have a tube that was kind of unique to just them, to be a sole source. And it would be harder for a competitor to, take away that socket and start selling their tube. But what they learned pretty quick, though, after a while, sole source was a bad idea. A lot of manufacturers, particularly those for the military, they thought sole source meant that if something went wrong, if the factory had a fire or something, their supply chain would be interrupted. They didn't like that. And after those days, if everything divided, that was designed in had to have a second source, or better yet, a third or a fourth, for competitive pricing and also for reliable supply. So you'd have to get your unit qualified, of course. That was my field, all my years of electronic selling, for the parts and everything. So I learned all about that. And it's been going on a long, long time, but there always was some logic to it anyways.
Yeah, well, it's all about saving money, but it's also about meeting demand. So you got to make sure that your source doesn't dry up.
Exactly. And over the years, some did. I still remember carbon composition resistors. They were the worst resistor ever made. They hissed and sputtered when they started to break down. They drifted high over the years. And if they ever got overloaded, they tend to go on fire. But for the first 40 years or so, that's all we had. And then as we moved into the middle of the 60s and beyond, carbon films and then later metal films started to show up. Far better. And you'd think everybody would swing over to them, and the whole commercial world did. But not the military. They're real stick in the muds. They don't like change. And they can't understand that the only reason they were able to get resistors is not because they were the huge customer. The commercial universe was the big customer. And their engineers just, spec'd in what they could get. Anyhow, to make a short story long, they insisted on buying compositions, carbon comp resistors, till just about the end of the 90s. I worked for the distributor that was the last one that had them for the last manufacturer, which was Allen Bradley, and for a half-watt over $1 each, because the military just wouldn't change their paperwork. And we kept telling them they wouldn't do anything, and then the day Bradley said, it's just not worth it, even at the prices we're charging you guys. We're going to have to stop making them. You got an opportunity for a lifetime buy. And the day came when they weren't making them anymore, and then the military started crying because they couldn't get them. Finally, they had to, modernize, but what a system.
That sounds like anything related to the government. It stagnates, and they don't change till they need to. I think that's one of the great problems with the space program in the United States.
Yeah, being part of the computer and software world for your career there, Bill, I'm sure you're aware. I was shocked to hear it. Well, one of the distributor I started out from was one of the early Intel distributors. And I found out that the space shuttle was all fixes. And even when there were 386s, 486s, and later Pentiums, anything that was retrofitted into, the shuttle still had to be a 286 chip, or more properly, an 8286 chip. Anyhow, the reason was that the 286 was the last chip that Intel offered in mil-spec. What used to happen is the engineers would design with commercial grade parts, and usually we give those to them as samples. But then, when it came time for production, they'd be asking for the mil spec. And Intel said, you guys just don't buy enough. It's not worth our time paying all that money to get a mil spec. You want to do that, you pay for it. And of course, they wouldn't. So they just flew with the older chips.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. And if that's probably just one story, there's probably many more. But I would think too that they probably were using 286. It could be related to maybe software that would not run on a newer computer. That could also be an issue as well.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. You're quite right. You know, but I have to smile. You know, every time I see a SpaceX launch, and they show the internal camera shots of their headquarters. Remember the NASA ones? There'd be 100 guys in there, you know, all with the old-fashioned consoles and everything else, and lots of analog stuff, dials and switches and everything else. And the inside of, you know, the space shuttle was like the old Apollo things, you know, still lots of old needle movement type stuff all put in, great big panels, whatever. And yet, you know, there at SpaceX, it's about, you know, a dozen or so people sitting around at their desks, all with nice big screens, touch screens, everything nice and neat, not cramped or crowded at all. And inside, they're dragging capsules and such. Pretty well the same thing. You know, it looks a lot more like the difference between the classic Star Trek and the later incarnations of Star Trek. You know, the technology so changed, but it was a private company like SpaceX that kept up with the times. It was never the government.
No, I couldn't agree with that more. And I've often said to folks that you know, NASA has been stagnant ever since they went to the moon. All they've really done is, you know, the space station and the space shuttle program, and launched a few probes, and that's about it. If anybody's going to make it to another planet, it's not going to be NASA. It is going to be done privately or be done by a consortium.
Well, you know, the New World wasn't discovered by, you know, the governments of Europe so much as it was, you know, they just hired on all kinds of private conquistadors usually. But that's where it all happened, and they were doing it for money, you know, trade, furs and gold and wood and every other darn thing. And NASA, the government way of doing things, usually, you know, like they probably could have eventually come up with reusable boosters, just like SpaceX did. But that would have meant maybe having to make changes at the factory. Worse yet, maybe the location of the factory. And if you were the senator of that particular state that was used to making a particular rocket booster, you wanted them to keep using that booster forever and no changes, because that kept all the jobs and money flowing into your state. You didn't want anything new.
Yeah, that's a very good same point you mentioned before about you know, the amount of people you would have you know, for a NASA space launch. Anyways, I'm over here at the store. I need to go into the store, but I'll be back out in a few minutes if you're still going to be around, Bill.
Oh yeah.
In a few minutes if you're still going to be around, Bill.
Oh yeah. I think I got clobbered. I was saying, be sure to get a treat for the dog while you're in there, Bill. I'll be waiting.
Yeah, roger to that. VE3IUK, I'll be clear for a bit.
All right. Good night.